Welcome to the Live, Love, and Leave a Legacy podcast with your host. That's me right here, Jerry Morales. And man, am I so excited to be here with you this beautiful day. Whatever day it is, wherever you're at, it's a beautiful day because you and I woke up today. And man, we are beginning a journey together in 2025. Now, I know some of you, you saw that Facebook Live where I said I was going to do this, and I'm doing it, right? This is 4 years in the making. 20 God put this in my heart to do this, and guess what? I chickened out. That's right, I chickened out. And then not too long ago, God put it in my heart again, and I'm like, I don't want to chicken out again because when we don't react, we're not obedient, we miss out on stuff. And I don't know what I missed out on already. I've been disobedient all kinds of time, but this to me is an honor to be able to do this because at the end of the day, it's about you. You know, it's about being a blessing to you. Because if you're taking the time to listen to this, to watch this, then I want to make sure it's worth your time and it's worth my time because time is such a valuable commodity in our lives. We can never get it back. So first and foremost, I appreciate, thank you for joining me, for watching or listening or whatever it may be. And I encourage you to subscribe, hit that like button and share it with your family and friends because this is all about encouraging us to have the best year of our lives. And it is such an important thing because we only get to do this once, right? Years ago, I was at a Bible study in my hometown, Castroville, and Sister Sally, who's hosting it, is at her house. She told me, Jerry, life's like a quarter. You only get to spend it once, so spend it wisely. And that's always stuck with me all these years is, it's true. Even like today, what I got to do today, I only get one shot to do this. And then when tomorrow comes, I can't go back and do the things I was supposed to do today. I was determined to do this podcast today. I was having some technical difficulty, dealing with lighting, sound, all that stuff that comes with doing a podcast. And I'm no professional, man. I didn't go to school for this. I didn't get training. I just been watching video after video, learning. Why? Because I was looking forward to this moment where I can finally get behind this microphone and record this thing and just go for it. Let me talk to you a little bit about the title. It is called Live, Love, and Leave a Legacy. And even underneath if you look at the logo we got, it says the Maverick Way. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that too later. But the important thing for me is I want to live my best life. And I want to live and I want to love to the best of my ability, and I want to leave a legacy, and I want to be selfish. I want to leave a legacy for my children and my children's children, my grandkids and my great grandkids, and I'm trying to find every form of medium of video or talking or anything so that I can leave my voice behind for my kids to hear, my grandkids to get to know about their grandpa a little bit more, their great grandpa. Because I know that this life is not easy. It's hard. I mean, life is hard. And when you don't have the right guidance, it's just that much harder. It's like trying to, go on a journey with no map, with nothing to guide you, to lead you, no compass, no anchor to kind of take care of you when times get tough. And so it's really important to me what we're doing here today, as much as it is for you as it is for me. And I just want to say that, all this is done with love. I'm not doing it for any other reason but to love on as many people as I can, just as I've been loved on. I am so blessed that I've had so many people invest in my life and part in my life, from, my own parents to Manuel Bersamin in high school, getting to Fresno State, with Ruben Fuente, Dr. Luz Gonzalez, my NAC bros out there, then coming to Victory Outreach, my Pastor Herb Bolero, who's such a great part of who I am today. And then, my leaders that I surround me today, Pastor Sonny, Sister Julie, our founders of Victory Outreach, and all my great pastor friends and mentors and leaders in our ministry. And then people in the community, and then, even in my workplace, the people that have taught me leadership, Dr. Richard Diaz, the times that I had in Calmecac, and some of you will be able to raise it and be like, what in the world is that? Águilas Guerreras. What? Well, these are opportunities that I had to work with young men and women. And I worked with the dynamic team, and we were able to do stuff that was just amazing. I'm so honored to be able to do this because, living is such an important thing. And a lot of people, because if you're watching this, we all are connected to people. The Bible even says that no man is an island unto himself. We're all connected to people. We are connected to family, connected to community. And not everybody is really living. A lot of people are just existing now. They've settled for whatever life is given them, and whatever job they have or whatever career they have, and they're just kind of selling to work, get a paycheck, pay the bills, and just exist and do the same thing over and over and over again. In other words, people stop dreaming. And my job and my desire is not so much job. My desire is to remind you that this life is amazing, and the challenge is for you to live your best life today, for you to go after the best life that life has to offer you, man. But you got to have a desire. There's got to be a motivation. What's your why? I mean, my why is my legacy, my kids. I mean, I love my children. I love my family. I love the people around me. I know that if you know me, you know I don't come from a big wealthy family. I come from humble backgrounds, man. You know, my mom and dad were farm workers. I worked in the fields. They came from Mexico. I grew up in Castroville, small town. Artichoke capital of the world, right? But you know, so I didn't grow up seeing a lot of these big opportunities around, you know, scientists or engineers. You know, my neighbors were all, you know, either they owned the fields or worked in the fields. And I went to school with kids just like me. You know, we just wanted to, you know, just I guess survive in the end of the day. You know, and not so much. No, but I'm blessed to have a lot of friends now that we've grown up. I've seen them do some amazing things. So not everybody was stuck in that. But I do know a lot of people that they get stuck and not dreaming and just settling for whatever. And why? Because we believe in all these lies that were told to us when we were kids or growing up, that we really couldn't do anything great or amazing or go out and just travel the world or be able to even think about traveling the world because we're barely making it, you know, week to week, month to month, day to day. God comes into our lives, and I am going to be biased, you know, because that blessed life is the best life. You know, that when you have God on your side, there's this thing called faith, you know, that's introduced into our lives. And that faith allows us to dream, to desire, to go after more, you know. So my children were raised in the faith. And I think I know that's a reason why my kids are, I mean, I don't raise chickens in my household. They're eagles. They love to fly. And they've seen a lot of the world. I mean, they've seen enough of the world to know that the world ain't that big. And they've been able to do stuff and be around some amazing people and experience things that I never got to do as a kid, you know. But doing this podcast is even challenging me because, you know, in the back of my mind, who's going to want to listen to me? You know, my voice is terrible, or I'm not, you know, I don't know. How do I look behind this camera with these headphones on? And all those things always kept getting at me like, man, I don't want to do this because I'm scared of failure, to be honest with you, you know? But I'm not in this to fail. I'm in this to win. And I'm in this to even grow myself and to challenge myself to go after everything that God has for me in my life. You know, I come at you with the lens of someone, I mean, I've experienced life. And there's this thing that you and I share, and it's called the struggle. It's called pain. You know, 4 years ago, I lost my first wife to stage 4 breast cancer. And that was the hardest thing I have experienced to this day. You know, it has made me the man that I am today, is experiencing that. It was a profound loss, and it still is. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm blessed to have my new wife, Doreen, and even a blended family. Now I went from 3 to 6 children, and a beautiful family with Victory Outreach Santa Cruz. My church, so if you're watching, I love you. This is for you too, to challenge you that maverick way. But you know, it taught me, my wife taught me that tomorrow's not promised. Today's the day of salvation. Whatever you want, whatever you're going to go after, you want to do it today. Start today. Work at it today. Don't be a Mexican mañana. You know what I mean? I was in an airport in Phoenix, and there's this dude. He had a cool shirt. Well, I mean, it's cool because it made me laugh, right? And it said, "Procrastinators unite tomorrow." And a lot of us are like that, man. Tomorrow I'll do this. I mean, believe me or not, I mean, even on this podcast thing, I was like, tomorrow, you know, because it's like, man, we really going to do this, Lord? And he's like, yeah, you know, he wouldn't let me off the hook. And I didn't want to let myself off the hook either. And now that I'm doing it, I'm so grateful, because that means that you and me are going to create a relationship. And I may not even ever meet you, but we're going to get to know a lot about, well, at least you get to know a lot about me. And not because I've been successful, it's because I've failed a lot, man. I've learned a lot. And I think that's a big part of why people stop living, and they just exist because you go after something and you fail, you get rejected, and it's an ugly feeling, man. I know it. But it doesn't mean that it's it. A lot of everyone, I don't want to say a lot, everyone that's been successful in this world has failed. John Maxwell says failure is not the opposite of success, it's the journey to success. We keep trying, we keep going after it, and then eventually we figure it out. And so the whole thing is, I'm glad I come from a family where my mom was like that. My mom was just, Mom, I love you, mamita chulita. I dedicate this one to you too, Mom. This podcast is a lot what I've learned from just watching you and how you've endured hardship like a good soldier. And a lot of you know my mom, Socorro from Castroville, man. My mom don't give up. My mom's a fighter. My mom taught me how to overcome adversity by watching her, going from someone who came from Zacatecas, Rancho Laguna Grande. Shout out to my mom's ranch out there. And didn't know any English, came here with a first grade education. And, my mom, I remember the day she came, she told us at the dinner table, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to learn English. And we all laughed. I mean, kids can be cruel, you know what I mean? And it was wrong. We laughed at my mom and we're like, yeah, okay. And she says, you watch, you're going to see. Van a ver, she would tell us. I'm going to do this. And man, not only did my mom learn English, but she went on to get her GED. She went on to go to Hartnell College in Salinas. And then my mom even applied to CSU, Monterey Bay. My mom's an OG. She's an honor grad. And my mom even applied and got into the master's in San Jose State to get a master's in Spanish because she wanted to teach Spanish. And I remember at the dinner table, she would practice her English and we would make fun of her. We would tell her to say fork and she would say fart. We'd laugh, just like you're laughing right now because it was funny. Don't get me wrong. It was funny. My brothers watching, you go cracking up because you remember. But no matter how much we laughed at her, it just like gave her more inspiration, more desire to just keep on going. I mean, it didn't stop her. And it shouldn't stop you and me. And even when people look at us and say, you're crazy, you'll never, come on. What do you think? You do that? No. Yeah, you can do that. You can open up that business. Yeah, you can write that book. Yeah, you can write that song. Yeah, you can go back to school. You can go get another train. You can level up. And I think that's the important part is level up. You and I need to upgrade constantly in our lives. When my wife passed away on November 15, 2020, not long after that, a piece of me died. And I had to be like reborn again because that man was just too hurt, too broken. He wouldn't be able to go forward. And the reason why I had to level up or I had to upgrade is because, I had been sober for so many years. And it was something that the pain was so deep. I remember I hadn't drank in almost over 25 years. And, it was like the second time that my kids and family left me by myself at the house. And I was in my little lazy boy right there, kicking back in the living room and just wallowing in my pain, man. And the moment the door closed and I knew they left, like this darkness filled the room. It was just so cold and so dark. This ugly feeling came over me. And for the first time in over 25 years, I tasted alcohol in my saliva. And that's crazy. It was during COVID, so I wasn't going to church, to be honest with you. We were all locked down. I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't praying. I wasn't searching. I was just stuck and wallowing in this pain of the loss of my wife. But my body went back that far to find any kind of relief. And I remember it freaked me out to the point where I got up, fell on my knees, and I cried like a baby. And it was at that moment when I was able to just unload and allow the Lord, my God, to receive all that pain that I had. And I was open again to receive what from him? Faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of those was love. Because I started thinking, man, if I'm struggling like that, I can only imagine what my kids are going through. And if I get emotional, it's because it's real. It was rough. Sunday, every time I talk about, I can't help but get emotional. I was worried about my babies. I was like, man, if I'm hurt this much, I can only imagine what they're going through. That's their mom. They lost their mom. And I had to realize that, man, I'm dad. And I got to be that man that they need in their lives to, just like my mom showed us how to overcome. I had to show my kids how to overcome. I had to show my kids how there is life after death, how we can get through this. And we're not just going to just barely make, we're going to conquer this thing. They were the ultimate motivation. And if you're a parent here, I want you to think about that. Our kids need us. They need us to live this life at a high level so that they can live their best life and they don't get stuck. I remember I picked up my daughter from work not long after that, and we parked in front of the house, and my daughter goes, "Hey, Daddy, you think Mom misses us?" And I said, "Of course she does, baby. Of course she does. But what she doesn't have is questions. God already broke it down to her why He allowed this to happen. And now she's praying and cheering us on that we don't get stuck in this pain. Because that's the last thing she would want, is for us to get stuck. And I'm telling you, your loved ones, your kids, everybody, they need you not to be stuck either. Because I know that this life can be really difficult. Some of you that are watching or listening, you've lost a loved one. You've lost a parent or a sibling or a spouse. And man, it's like, what do I do now? A child, my Lord. But I want you to know that my God is faithful. And I'll tell you this much, because for a number of years, I had to go to the hospitals and pray for people, or be there for people at their darkest hour on the street corner, or go to their home, or I've even gone to the morgue and be there in their darkest hour. And I couldn't change what happened. I couldn't change the way they felt. All I could do was remind them that God is with them and God will give them the strength to get through it. And just like He's done it for me, I want you to know that He could do it for you too. Because that's what I told myself, man. I ain't no hypocrite. I'm not going to start being now. I told my children, I go, look, your mom and me, we shared God's love and His faith and His promises to a hurting world. And now it's our turn to live by those worlds, or else we've been hypocrites all these years. And I refuse to be known as a hypocrite. And so today, this episode, this moment is a challenge to walk with us, for us to walk together on this journey to live, love, and leave a legacy together. Because there's a lot of people that need to see you make it. They need to see you excel. They need to see you have success regardless of what you have faced in this life. Because adversity is God's university. God teaches us by drawing us closer to Him in our darkest hours. It is in those times that God shapes us and molds us and upgrades our faith, upgrades our ability to endure hardship like a good soldier, just like my mom taught me and just like my dad taught me. And I'll talk a little bit more on my dad on the next episode. But I really want to encourage you to never give up. That's part of the Maverick way, is we don't know how to give up because we know who holds the future. And so my encouragement to you is, don't give up. Keep fighting. Keep living. And keep dreaming. You were born an original. Don't die a copycat. There is something that God has for you. And part of it is not just for you to live your best life, regardless of the situation, regardless of what you've been through, but that you would inspire others to do the same. And that's the goal of this podcast. And I'm going to challenge myself to create a better background for you to, the sounds, all that cool stuff. I mean, I could do that. Look, bam, there's a joke for you, okay? I'm going to work on all that stuff because I want this to be a great experience for you and for me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not here. That's all I know how to do, is just to be real and to be honest and to have real conversations about real things that we are going to face, or we have faced, or we're facing right now in life. But I want you to know what doesn't change, and that's God. I'm always going to refer to that. I mean, somebody say, well, don't, look, if I don't tell you where I get my strength from, then I'm keeping something from you. And my strength comes from the Lord. When my wife passed away, I listened to the song called The Joy of the Lord, because I had to find my strength again. My strength is in the joy of the Lord. I had to find joy again. I had to find that, rekindle that peace and that joy inside my heart that I had before, but it couldn't be the same because I was not the same man. I had to upgrade and to be the man that I am today, who still strives to be a better man for all those that God has called me to serve. So this podcast is to serve you. To be the best man you can be, the best woman you can be, and at the end of the day, to fulfill the roles that you have in this life as a parent, as a spouse, as a member of a family, member of a community, or wherever you're involved in, to be the light. to show people that nothing's impossible when God is in them. I'm so glad you stuck it out with me for this first episode. Tune in. Episode 2's coming. Well, we're going to talk about love. Come on. And I'm just going to touch on it briefly, and then when we get into it more, I'm going to expand a lot on this live, love, and leave a legacy. But the first 3 episodes are live, and then about love, and then about legacy, and then we're going to the Maverick way. And then we're just going to go on a journey and continue that journey. And then we'll even have time where I'm learning I'll take phone calls. I'll do some live sessions. And I'm learning. And I'm going to continue to learn so that you and I can have the greatest experience that we can on this podcast and through this podcast. But at the end of the day, I want you to know that God loves you. So be blessed, be brave, be bold, but most importantly, be you. Until the next one, God bless you. We'll see you.